How to Get What You Want. Introduction: The Science of Achievement. You've wanted something: a promotion, a healthier body, a meaningful relationship, financial freedom, a creative breakthrough for months, maybe years. You've read the articles, listened to the podcasts, maybe even set New Year's resolutions. Yet here you are, still wanting. The problem isn't your ambition. It isn't your intelligence. It isn't even your work ethic. The problem is simpler and more fixable than you think. You've never learned the systematic approach to translating desire into reality. Most achievement advice falls into two camps. The first offers vague inspiration: believe in yourself, visualize success, manifest your dreams, that feels good but provides no actionable framework. The second delivers complex academic theories that, while accurate, remain trapped in journal articles and university libraries, never reaching the people who need them most. This book bridges that gap. The Achievement Gap: Why Knowing Isn't Enough. In 2024, the labor market saw a curious pattern. 82% of professionals over age 45 who attempted career changes succeeded in their new roles, according to data from The Interview Guys, published in September 2024. Yet 52% of recent college graduates remained underemployed within a year of graduating, struggling to find positions matching their education, as reported by the Strata Education Foundation and Burning Glass Institute in the same year. The difference wasn't credentials, age, or even opportunity. It was clarity of purpose combined with systematic execution. The successful career changers didn't simply want something different. They knew precisely what they wanted and had a replicable method for getting it. This pattern appears everywhere. OpenAI's journey to creating breakthrough artificial intelligence demonstrates this principle at scale. In late 2024, court documents revealed the company's strategic roadmap: transform ChatGPT from a conversation tool into a super assistant that knows you, understands what you care about, and helps with any task. By December 2024, their O3 model achieved 87.5% on the ARC-AGI benchmark, a test specifically designed to measure genuine intelligence, jumping from 5% earlier that year. What separated this from typical corporate goal setting was the precision of the vision and the systematic approach to achieving it. Meanwhile, countless startups with similar ambitions failed. The differentiator? A clear, evidence-based system for achievement. The 4 core principles. This book rests on 4 principles supported by decades of research. First, achievement is systematic, not mystical. Psychologist Edwin Locke and Gary Latham's goal-setting theory, developed over 5 decades of research, demonstrates that specific, challenging goals consistently lead to higher performance than vague aspirations or do-your-best instructions. Their work, published across numerous peer-reviewed journals since the 1960s, shows that goal setting isn't about positive thinking, it is about precise targeting. Second, your environment shapes behavior more than willpower. B.J. Fogg's research at Stanford's Behavior Design Lab proves that tiny changes to your environment create massive shifts in behavior. His work, detailed in his 2019 book Tiny Habits, demonstrates that redesigning your surroundings makes desired actions automatic, while undesired actions become difficult. This explains why habit stacking works while relying on motivation fails. Third, relationships accelerate or impede every goal. Mark Granovetter's groundbreaking 1973 paper, The Strength of Weak Ties, revealed that your acquaintances, not your close friends, are most likely to help you achieve career goals. His research showed that weak ties provide novel information and opportunities that close networks cannot. This social capital theory has been replicated across industries and cultures for over 5 decades. Fourth, sustainable achievement requires adaptive systems, not rigid plans. Nassim Nicholas Taleb's concept of anti-fragility, introduced in his 2012 book Anti-Fragile: Things That Gain from Disorder, demonstrates that the best systems don't just withstand stress, they improve because of it. Research on goal disengagement, published in journals like Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin, confirms that knowing when to pivot is as crucial as persistence. How this book works. Traditional self-help books offer either theory without application or tactics without understanding. This book integrates both through a 6-chapter framework. Chapters 1 and 2 establish your foundation, discovering what you authentically want, transforming vague desires into precise objectives, and building the systems that make achievement inevitable. Chapters 3 and 4 address execution, leveraging relationships ethically, navigating setbacks, and optimizing your finite resources of time, energy, and money. Chapters 5 and 6 focus on acceleration and sustainability, measuring progress effectively, creating momentum, and maintaining success without burning out. Each chapter combines established research with current examples from the 12 months preceding October 2025. You'll see how principles from psychology, sociology, neuroscience, and behavioral economics apply to real situations, from career pivots during recent labor market shifts to tech company adaptations during economic uncertainty. Who this book serves. Whether you're a busy professional navigating career transitions, a parent balancing multiple responsibilities, or a hardworking individual pursuing ambitious goals, the principles remain constant. The 24-year-old seeking a career change and the 50-year-old launching a second act both benefit from the same evidence-based frameworks. The examples span contexts: career advancement, relationship building, health transformations, creative projects, financial goals, because the underlying mechanics of achievement transcend specific domains. Master these systems once, apply them everywhere. The difference between wishing and strategizing. Wishing says, I want to be healthier. Strategizing says, I will walk for 20 minutes every morning before breakfast, tracked via my phone's step counter, starting Monday. Wishing says, I need a better job. Strategizing says, I will apply to 3 positions per week in data analytics roles, leveraging my former colleague at Microsoft for an informational interview by month's end. Wishing relies on luck. Strategizing creates conditions where success becomes likely. This book teaches you to strategize. Your starting point. You don't need exceptional talent, unlimited time, or perfect circumstances. You need a systematic approach applied consistently. The research is clear. People who apply these principles achieve their goals at dramatically higher rates than those who rely on motivation alone. Career expert Octavia Goradima, CEO of Fire Memos and host of How to Change Careers, notes that professional networking remains one of the most effective tools for navigating transitions. The lesson I learned is, don't shy away from starting career-focused conversations, she said, regarding her own successful career pivot in public relations. The following chapters provide everything you need: frameworks for clarity, systems for execution, strategies for resilience, methods for measurement, and approaches for sustainability. Each element builds on the previous, creating a complete achievement system. Your transformation doesn't require reinventing yourself. It requires understanding the proven principles of achievement and applying them systematically to your specific situation. Let's begin. Chapter 1: Clarity and Vision. Know what you want and define it precisely. Sarah spent 3 years saying she wanted a better career. She attended networking events, updated her resume quarterly, and complained to friends about her unfulfilling job. Nothing changed. Then, during a restructuring at her company in early 2024, she attended a career workshop that asked one question: what specifically would you be doing in your ideal Tuesday afternoon at work? The specificity startled her. Not, what's your dream job, but what tasks, with what people, solving what problems. After a week of reflection, her answer crystallized. Analyzing user behavior data to improve mobile app experiences, presenting findings to product teams, working remotely 3 days per week. 6 months later, after applying this new clarity to her job search, she accepted a user experience researcher position, exactly matching her detailed vision. The biggest obstacle to getting what you want isn't external competition or limited opportunity. It's the fog of unclear desires that keeps you pursuing goals that don't authentically matter to you. The foundation: authentic desire versus social programming. Your brain constantly receives messages about what you should want. Social media curates highlight reels of others' lives. Family members project their unfulfilled dreams onto you. Society rewards certain achievements while dismissing others. The result, many people spend years pursuing goals that never truly belong to them. Edward Deci and Richard Ryan's self-determination theory, developed over 4 decades of research and published extensively in journals including American Psychologist, distinguishes between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation arises from internal satisfaction. The activity itself is rewarding. Extrinsic motivation comes from external rewards or pressures. You pursue the activity for money, status, or approval. The research is unequivocal. Intrinsically motivated goals lead to higher performance, greater persistence, and more life satisfaction. Yet most people pursue primarily extrinsically motivated goals without realizing it. Consider 2 people wanting to get healthy. Person A wants health because they genuinely enjoy how their body feels when fit and active. Person B wants health because they believe it will make them more attractive to others. Both pursue the same behavior initially, but person A sustains it long-term while person B abandons it when results don't immediately translate to external validation. How do you distinguish authentic desires from imposed wants? Values clarification exercise. Acceptance and Commitment Therapy, ACT, developed by psychologist Stephen Hayes and colleagues, provides practical frameworks for uncovering authentic values. Unlike goals, values are ongoing directions rather than destinations. You can achieve a goal, but you live according to a value. Write down 10 things you want. For each, ask, why do I want this? Then ask why, again, about that answer. Repeat 5 times. This 5 whys technique, originally developed for quality improvement in manufacturing but remarkably effective for personal clarity, reveals whether your motivation stems from authentic values or external programming. Example: I want a promotion. Why? To earn more money. Why do you want more money? To feel secure. Why do you want to feel secure? So I can stop worrying about the future. Why do you worry about the future? Because my parents struggled financially and I fear repeating their experience. Why does their experience matter to your choices? I suppose it doesn't have to. I'm choosing security they didn't have, but maybe I'm over-prioritizing it relative to other things I value. This person's authentic desire might not be the promotion itself, but rather financial security, which could be achieved through various paths, many of which might better align with other values like autonomy or creativity. The social comparison trap. Leon Festinger's 1954 social comparison theory explains why we constantly measure ourselves against others. Humans naturally evaluate abilities and opinions by comparing themselves to similar others. This tendency, while evolutionarily useful, becomes destructive in modern environments, saturated with curated success stories. The 2024 U.S. labor market demonstrated this clearly. After layoffs across tech and media, many white-collar workers upskilled and pivoted. Sales representatives transitioned to software roles, recruiters moved into learning and development, and marketers leaped between industries. Yet many professionals remained frozen, comparing themselves to these successful transitions and feeling inadequate rather than identifying their own authentic next steps. Stop asking, what are successful people doing? Start asking, what do I genuinely want to do? Short-term wants versus long-term fulfillment. Your brain's reward system has evolved for modern temptations. Research on temporal discounting published in journals like Psychological Science shows humans consistently overvalue immediate rewards while undervaluing future benefits. This explains why you want the donut now but wish you'd chosen the apple yesterday. It explains why you scroll social media instead of working on long-term projects. It explains why momentary desires often conflict with stated long-term goals. Dan Gilbert's research on affective forecasting, detailed in his 2006 book Stumbling on Happiness, demonstrates that people reliably mispredict what will make them happy. We overestimate the joy from achievements, new car, promotion, relationship, and underestimate our adaptation to both positive and negative circumstances. The solution isn't suppressing short-term wants. It's ensuring your long-term goals genuinely align with your values, making the pursuit itself satisfying rather than purely sacrificial. From vision to concrete objectives. Once you've identified authentic desires, the next challenge is transforming fuzzy aspirations into specific, actionable objectives. This is where most people fail, not from lack of desire, but from insufficient precision. The SMART framework and beyond. Most people have heard of SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. The framework, attributed to George T. Doran's 1981 paper in Management Review, remains useful despite being over 4 decades old. But SMART has limitations. It focuses on achievability, which can limit ambition. It emphasizes measurement, which works for quantifiable outcomes but fails for qualitative growth. Modern frameworks address these gaps. OKRs, Objectives and Key Results, popularized by John Doerr's 2018 book, Measure What Matters, separate aspirational objectives from measurable key results. This allows for ambitious vision coupled with concrete progress markers. Example of goal evolution. Vague: I want to be healthier. SMART: I will exercise 3 times weekly for 30 minutes each for 12 weeks. OKR: Objective: transform my physical health and energy levels. Key results: complete 3 cardio sessions weekly averaging 30 minutes. Increase from 0 to 5 consecutive push-ups. Report energy levels of 7 or higher on 10-point scale 4 days weekly. The OKR version captures both the inspiring vision and measurable progress markers. Visualization: the science behind mental rehearsal. When we visualize an action, our brain activates the same regions involved in performing the actual movement, a phenomenon known as motor imagery. Studies have shown that imagining a movement can stimulate the motor cortex almost as effectively as physically performing the action. Michael Phelps, the most decorated Olympian of all time, credits much of his success to visualization. Phelps would mentally rehearse his races in vivid detail, imagining every stroke and turn from both first-person and third-person perspectives. This preparation allowed him to remain calm and focused even when unexpected challenges arose, such as when his goggles filled with water during the 200-meter butterfly at the 2008 Beijing Olympics. He still won gold while swimming blind. But visualization isn't just for elite athletes. British sprinter Zarnell Hughes in 2024 precisely predicted both of his record-breaking times prior to the races to 1/100th of a second. He uses a mixture of training logs and vision boards to outline his goals and get a clear picture of exactly what he wants to achieve at the Olympics. How to visualize effectively. Most people visualize incorrectly. They imagine the outcome standing on the podium without rehearsing the process every stroke of the race. Effective visualization includes sensory detail. Engage all senses. Don't just see yourself giving the presentation, feel the clicker in your hand. Hear your voice projecting clearly, smell the conference room, notice the audience's engaged expressions. Process and outcome, visualize both the journey and destination. See yourself researching, drafting, practicing, not just receiving applause at the end. Obstacles and solutions, mental contrasting, developed by psychologist Gabrielle Oettingen, means visualizing both success and potential obstacles, then mentally rehearsing how you'll overcome them. Her research, published in journals including Psychological Science, shows this technique dramatically increases goal achievement compared to positive visualization alone. Consistent practice, brief daily visualization, 5 to 10 minutes, outperforms lengthy occasional sessions. Make it routine, perhaps while commuting or before sleep, building belief in possibility. Even with clarity about what you want and detailed objectives, achievement requires believing the goal is actually attainable for someone like you. This is where mindset and self-efficacy become crucial. Growth mindset versus fixed mindset. Carol Dweck's decades of research, summarized in her 2006 book Mindset: The New Psychology of Success, distinguishes between fixed and growth mindsets. Those with fixed mindsets believe abilities are static, you are either smart or you are not, talented or you are not. Those with growth mindsets believe abilities develop through effort and learning. The implications are profound. Fixed mindset individuals avoid challenges that might expose limitations, give up quickly when facing obstacles, and feel threatened by others' success. Growth mindset individuals embrace challenges as opportunities to improve, persist through setbacks, and feel inspired by others' achievements. The 2024 career pivot data illustrates this vividly. Despite age discrimination affecting 90% of workers over 50, 82% of professionals over 45 who attempted career changes succeeded. These successful career changers approached transitions strategically, leveraged existing networks, and focused on industries where their experience provided clear advantages. They exemplified growth mindset, viewing their age as accumulated expertise rather than a liability, treating rejection as information rather than judgment, and believing new skills could be learned at any age. Developing self-efficacy. Albert Bandura's self-efficacy theory, developed through extensive research published from the 1970s onward, explains how belief in your capability to execute specific behaviors develops. Bandura identified 4 sources of self-efficacy. Mastery experiences, successfully completing progressively challenging tasks. This is why starting with achievable quick wins matters. Each success builds confidence for the next challenge. Vicarious experiences, seeing similar others succeed. This explains the power of role models and why representation matters. When you see someone like you achieving the goal, you believe it's possible for you too. Social persuasion, receiving encouragement from credible sources. But generic cheerleading, "you can do it," is far less effective than specific, credible feedback. Your analytical skills in that presentation were excellent. That ability will serve you well in data science roles. Physiological states, interpreting physical and emotional reactions. Anxiety before a presentation can be reframed as excitement. Research by Alison Wood Brooks, published in Journal of Experimental Psychology, shows simply saying "I am excited" instead of "I am calm," or trying to suppress anxiety, improves performance. Overcoming limiting beliefs through cognitive restructuring. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, developed by Aaron Beck and extensively researched since the 1960s, provides practical techniques for challenging limiting beliefs. In the process, identify the limiting belief. "I'm too old to change careers." Examine the evidence. What facts support this belief? What facts contradict it? The data shows 82% success rates for career changes among those over 45, directly contradicting age as a barrier. Consider alternative interpretations. Could "too old" actually mean too risk-averse or too comfortable with current situation? Reframing often reveals the true obstacle. Test the belief. Design a small experiment. Apply to 3 positions you're too old for. Collect data rather than assumptions. Replace with evidence-based belief. While age bias exists, I have transferable skills and relevant experience that provide unique value. Career transitions at my age are common and often successful. This process, repeated consistently, rewires automatic thought patterns. It's not toxic positivity, it's evidence-based realism, replacing unfounded pessimism. Practical application, your clarity blueprint. Let's consolidate these concepts into an actionable process. Week 1, Values Discovery. Complete the 5 whys exercise for 10 current wants or goals. Identify 3 to 5 core values that emerge repeatedly. Rate your current life 0 to 10 scale on how well you're honoring each value. Identify one area with the largest gap between importance and current expression. Week 2, Specific Goal Definition. Choose one goal aligned with your values. Start with one. You'll build systems for multiple goals in later chapters. Transform it into OKR format. 1 inspiring objective. 3 measurable key results. Write a detailed description of what achieving this goal looks and feels like. Identify what specifically will be different in your daily life when achieved. Week 3, Visualization Practice. Spend 10 minutes daily visualizing both the process and outcome. Include sensory details, potential obstacles, and solutions. Use mental contrasting. Imagine success. Identify obstacles, rehearse overcoming them. Track your visualization practice. Consistency matters more than duration. Week 4, Belief Building. Identify one limiting belief blocking this goal. Complete the cognitive restructuring process. Find 3 examples of people similar to you who achieved this goal. Design one small experiment to test whether your limiting belief is accurate. Chapter Summary. Getting what you want begins with knowing what you authentically want, not what others expect or what social comparison suggests. This requires distinguishing intrinsic from extrinsic motivation, recognizing social programming, and clarifying values through structured reflection. Once you've identified authentic desires, transform vague aspirations into specific, measurable objectives using frameworks like SMART goals or OKRs. These provide both ambitious vision and concrete progress markers. Visualization amplifies goal achievement by activating neural pathways as if you're already performing desired behaviors. Effective visualization includes sensory detail, process rehearsal, mental contrasting of obstacles, and consistent practice. Finally, sustainable achievement requires believing the goal is attainable for you. Develop this belief through growth mindset cultivation, building self-efficacy from mastery experiences, and challenging limiting beliefs with cognitive restructuring. The foundation is set. You know what you want. You've defined it precisely. You believe it's possible. Now it's time to build the systems that make it inevitable. Chapter 2. Strategic Systems. Build habits and plans that work. On January 1st, Mark declared he would wake at 5:30, exercise for an hour, meditate for 20 minutes, eat a healthy breakfast, and review his goals before work. By January 7th, he was back to his old routine, hitting snooze until 7, grabbing coffee and a muffin, scrolling through his phone during his commute. The problem wasn't his desire, it was his system, or rather, his lack of one. Meanwhile, across town, Jennifer started January 1st with a different approach. She placed her workout clothes next to her bed. She set her coffee maker to auto brew at 6:15. She scheduled her morning walk into her calendar like a business meeting. She attached her new meditation practice to an existing routine. After pouring her coffee, she would sit for just 3 minutes. 6 months later, Mark was still planning to start soon. Jennifer had created a life that barely resembled her former chaos, and it felt effortless. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. This truth, popularized by author James Clear, but validated by decades of behavioral science research, explains why most New Year's resolutions fail, while some people transform their lives with apparent ease. Creating your roadmap from big goals to daily actions. With clarity about what you want from Chapter 1, the next challenge is building a bridge from your current reality to your desired future. That bridge is your roadmap, but it needs to be built properly. Breaking big goals into manageable steps. Cognitive psychologists call it chunking, the process of breaking overwhelming information or tasks into smaller, manageable units. Research published in journals like Psychological Review demonstrates that our working memory can hold approximately 7 items. Anything beyond that becomes overwhelming, triggering procrastination or abandonment. Take Sarah's goal from Chapter 1, becoming a user experience researcher. Without chunking, this goal paralyzes through its enormity. With chunking, it becomes a series of achievable steps. Month 1, research. 10 user experience researcher job postings, note common requirements. Month 2, complete 1 online UX fundamentals course. Month 3, volunteer to analyze user feedback for a friend's small business website. Month 4, create 3 case study examples for portfolio. Month 5, join 2 professional UX communities, attend virtual meetups. Month 6, apply to 5 positions, request 3 informational interviews. Each monthly chunk contains weekly actions. Each weekly action contains daily behaviors. The enormous goal becomes a today-sized task. Mental contrasting with implementation intentions. MC. Gabriela Oettingen's research, published extensively in journals including the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, reveals a powerful technique: mental contrasting with implementation intentions, abbreviated as MC, MII, or WOOP. Wish, outcome, obstacle, plan. Traditional positive thinking says visualize success. Research shows this actually reduces achievement. Your brain experiences the reward prematurely, decreasing motivation to act. Mental contrasting adds realism. Visualize success, then visualize obstacles, then plan how to overcome them. The format: wish. What do you want to achieve? Outcome: what's the best result of achieving it? Obstacle: what internal obstacle might prevent it? Plan: if obstacle occurs, then I will. Specific action. Example: I want to write my book. The best outcome would be publishing it and helping thousands of readers. My internal obstacle is feeling overwhelmed by the blank page. If I feel overwhelmed, then I will write just one paragraph about one specific example, nothing more. Studies show MCII increases goal achievement rates by 40 to 50% compared to positive visualization alone. Time blocking and energy management. According to 2024 research from Sunsama's State of Modern Work and Well-Being report, nearly 72% of professionals use time blocking to effectively structure their days, while over 38% utilize the Pomodoro technique to maintain concentration during deep work periods. But time blocking alone misses a critical element: energy. Not all hours are equal. Cal Newport's concept of deep work, cognitively demanding tasks requiring focused attention, should be scheduled during your peak cognitive hours. For most people, peak cognitive performance occurs in mid-morning, roughly 9 to 11 a.m., with a secondary peak in late afternoon, 4 to 6 p.m. Research shows engaging in deep work, extended periods of focused work without distractions, can double productivity and quality of work. Schedule your most important, cognitively demanding work during energy peaks. Save administrative tasks, emails, and meetings for energy valleys. This isn't about working more hours, it's about matching task difficulty to biological rhythms. Building flexibility into your plans. The military has a saying, no plan survives first contact with the enemy. Similarly, no personal plan survives first contact with reality unchanged. Rigid plans feel impressive but break catastrophically. Adaptive plans feel loose but bend without breaking. The key is building decision points into your roadmap. Every month, schedule a review. What's working, what's not, what needs adjustment. These reviews aren't admissions of failure, they are strategic pivots based on new information. Think like a startup using agile methodology. Plan in short sprints, review frequently, adjust constantly. The goal remains fixed. The path stays flexible. Habit architecture, the science of making change stick. Plans get you started. Habits keep you going. Without translating your goals into habitual behaviors, every day requires willpower and motivation, resources that inevitably deplete. The science behind habit formation. Research published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology in 2024 found that framing habits in terms of identity rather than outcomes increased habit adherence by 32%. When a behavior becomes part of how you define yourself, consistency follows naturally, explains identity researcher Dr. Maya Rodriguez. The habit loop, identified by neuroscientists and popularized by Charles Duhigg, consists of three components: cue, routine, reward. Your brain detects a cue, trigger executes, a routine behavior receives a reward, benefit. Repeat this loop enough times and the behavior becomes automatic, requiring minimal willpower or conscious thought. B.J. Fogg, behavioral scientist at Stanford University, explains, the thing that wires a habit in is not repetition, it's the emotion you feel when you do the behavior. His research shows that behavior happens when three elements converge at the same moment: motivation, ability, and a prompt. This reveals why most habits fail. People rely on motivation, which fluctuates wildly, while neglecting ability, making the behavior easy, and prompts, reliable triggers, Stanford behavior scientist B.J. Fogg demonstrates that designing for motivation waves by reducing barriers during low motivation periods is more effective than relying on consistently high motivation. Making behaviors tiny. A 2025 study found that leaders who began with minimal viable habits, what B.J. Fogg calls tiny habits, and gradually scaled up, were 2.7 times more likely to maintain long-term habits than those who started with ambitious targets. Start absurdly small. Want to meditate daily? Start with 2 minutes, so small you'd be embarrassed to call it a failure. Want to exercise regularly? Start with 5 push-ups, so easy that motivation isn't required. This seems trivial. It's actually genius. Small behaviors face minimal resistance. Once established, they naturally expand. But trying to build the final version of the habit immediately triggers maximum resistance and maximum failure. Jennifer didn't start with hour-long workouts. She started by putting on workout clothes every morning, nothing more. After 2 weeks, adding a 10-minute walk felt natural. After 2 months, 20-minute jogs felt manageable. After 6 months, she couldn't imagine her day without movement. Environment design, the invisible hand. Research shows leaders who strategically modified their physical environments to support desired habits reported 58% higher success rates. Your environment shapes behavior more than willpower. Put a bowl of candy on your desk, you'll eat candy. Put a water bottle on your desk, you'll drink water. This seems obvious, yet most people try to overcome their environment with discipline rather than redesigning it. Environment design follows one principle: make good behaviors easy and automatic, make bad behaviors hard and manual. Want to eat healthier? Don't keep junk food in your house. Doesn't matter how much willpower you have at 8 p.m. after a stressful day. If cookies aren't available, you can't eat them. Want to write daily? Keep your laptop open to a blank document on your desk. The moment you sit down, writing is the path of least resistance. Want to stop checking your phone compulsively? Delete social media apps. Keeping them makes you rely on willpower hundreds of times daily. Deleting them requires willpower once. Habit stacking, the power of sequential behaviors. James Clear popularized the concept of habit stacking, crediting B.J. Fogg's original research on anchoring. Attach new habits to existing habits. The existing habit serves as a reliable cue for the new behavior. The formula: after existing habit, I will new habit. Examples: after I pour my morning coffee, I will write 100 words. After I close my laptop for the day, I will put on walking shoes. After I brush my teeth at night, I will lay out tomorrow's clothes. This works because existing habits are already wired into your brain. They happen automatically. By attaching new behaviors to automatic triggers, you bypass the need for conscious remembering. Jennifer stacked her meditation onto coffee pouring. Mark, had he known this technique, could have stacked exercise clothing onto his phone alarm, not requiring a 5:30 wake-up, just requiring he touch his workout clothes before checking his phone. Keystone habits, the dominoes that topple everything else. Some habits create cascading effects, triggering other positive behaviors without additional effort. Charles Duhigg calls these keystone habits. Research shows exercise is a powerful keystone habit. People who establish regular exercise also tend to eat better, sleep more consistently, be more productive at work, show more patience with family, and manage money more responsibly without consciously trying to improve those areas. Exercise creates a psychological shift. I'm the kind of person who takes care of themselves. That identity shift influences other decisions throughout the day. Other common keystone habits: making your bed, cooking meals at home, keeping a daily journal. Making your bed creates a sense of accomplishment and order. Cooking meals at home improves nutrition and saves money. Keeping a daily journal increases self-awareness and emotional regulation. Identify potential keystone habits in your life. These deserve priority. They'll accelerate progress toward multiple goals simultaneously. Focus and attention management in a distracted world. Even with perfect habits, achievement requires sustained attention on important work. Remote work, which has become permanent for millions, 22% of U.S. employees work remotely at least part-time as of August 2024, has proven to boost productivity for many. Studies show remote workers experience a 22% boost in performance compared to on-site counterparts, attributed to fewer interruptions and more focus. Yet research reveals the average worker is interrupted by digital distractions every 11 minutes. Studies from the University of California, Irvine show it takes 23 minutes on average to regain full focus after each interruption, reducing overall productivity by up to 40%. Deep work protocols. Cal Newport's deep work describes professional activities performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that push cognitive capabilities to their limit. These efforts create new value, improve skills, and are difficult to replicate. Deep work is increasingly rare and increasingly valuable. Most professionals spend their days in shallow work, logistical tasks that don't require intense focus. Email, meetings, administrative tasks, social media browsing. These activities feel productive but create minimal value. Newport recommends scheduling deep work blocks, 90 to 120-minute periods of complete focus on cognitively demanding tasks. During these blocks, eliminate all distractions, close email, silence phone, use website blockers if necessary. Research from Stanford University studying work at Tripcom revealed that hybrid work causes no damage to performance while improving job satisfaction and reducing quit rates by 1/3. Remote workers are more focused, engaging in deeper work with fewer interruptions. Remote workers could gain 62 hours of work that office workers lose from distractions like impromptu meetings. Managing digital distractions. Your phone is designed to be addictive. Social media companies employ teams of behavioral psychologists to maximize engagement, a euphemism for time spent staring at screens. Sunsama's 2024 research shows that while remote work offers freedom from commutes, the downsides include distractions at home and shaky routines. Successful remote workers implement specific strategies including creating a dedicated workspace and establishing habits that reduce interruptions and increase focus. Strategies that actually work. Batch checking. Check email at specific times, for example, 9 a.m., 1 p.m., 4 p.m., rather than continuously. Most urgent emails aren't actually urgent. Airplane mode hours designate certain hours as completely offline. Even 2 hours of airplane mode daily transforms productivity. App deletion. Delete the most addictive apps from your phone. Accessing them through a browser creates enough friction to break compulsive checking. Notification purge. Disable all non-essential notifications. Default to off. Enable selectively for truly critical items. Physical barriers. Keep your phone in another room during deep work. Physical distance matters. Out of sight truly becomes out of mind. Flow state optimization. Psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi identified flow, the mental state of complete immersion and energized focus. During flow, time seems to disappear, work feels effortless, and quality skyrockets. Flow requires specific conditions. Clear goals, ambiguous tasks prevent flow. Write the report is too vague. Write the introduction explaining our methodology provides clarity. Immediate feedback. You need to know if you're on track. This is why video games create flow easily. Constant feedback. Build feedback into your work. Challenge skill balance. Flow occurs when challenge slightly exceeds current skill level. Too easy breeds boredom. Too hard creates anxiety. Minimize distractions. Flow is fragile. A single interruption can shatter 2 hours of flow state. Protect flow time ruthlessly. Practical application. Your 30-day system build. Let's translate these concepts into an actionable 30-day implementation. Week 1. Roadmap creation. Break your primary goal into 6 monthly chunks. For the first month, break into 4 weekly objectives. For the first week, identify specific daily actions. Schedule a monthly review in your calendar, recurring. Practice MCII, identify your top 3 obstacles, create if-then plans. Week 2, tiny habit implementation. Choose one keystone habit, likely exercise, meditation, or morning routine. Make it absurdly small, 2 minutes or less. Identify the existing habit it stacks onto. Design your environment to support this habit. Track completion daily, simple checkmark on calendar. Week 3, deep work initiation. Schedule 3 90-minute deep work blocks this week. Identify your most cognitively demanding task. Block all distractions before starting: phone, email, websites. After each session, note what worked and what didn't. Gradually increase to 5 blocks next week. Week 4, system refinement. Conduct your first monthly review: what worked, what didn't. Add 1 additional tiny habit. Don't rush this. Master 1 habit before adding another. Identify and remove 1 major distraction from your environment. Plan next month's chunks and weekly objectives. Celebrate GOS in crucial for habit reinforcement. Chapter summary. Goals initiate action, systems sustain it. Without building robust systems, every day requires maximum willpower, a recipe for eventual failure. Effective roadmaps break overwhelming goals into manageable chunks. Use mental contrastings to prepare for obstacles. Schedule work based on energy levels rather than arbitrary hours, and build flexibility through regular reviews. Habit formation succeeds through 3 mechanisms: starting absurdly small, reducing resistance, designing environments that make desired behaviors easy and automatic, eliminating reliance on willpower, and stacking new habits onto existing routines, leveraging automatic cues. Identity-based habits, framing behaviors as reflections of who you are rather than what you want, increase adherence dramatically. Focus, increasingly rare in a distracted world, becomes achievable through deep work protocols, scheduled, distraction-free blocks, aggressive distraction management, batching communications, deleting addictive apps, creating physical barriers and flow state optimization. Clear goals, immediate feedback, appropriate challenge levels. The systems you build today determine the person you become tomorrow. Build wisely. Chapter 3, People and Influence. Leverage relationships to accelerate success. When Lisa decided to transition from teaching to educational technology consulting in early 2024, her resume looked impressive on paper. 10 years of classroom experience, a master's degree, strong technical skills. Yet her applications disappeared into the void. 3 months of silence, 0 interviews. Then she remembered Carlos, a former colleague who had left teaching 2 years earlier for an ed tech company. They had lost touch, but Lisa reached out with a genuine message, not asking for a job, but asking for 15 minutes of advice about the industry. Carlos responded within hours. They talked for 45 minutes. He introduced her to his manager. He interviewed 2 weeks later. She received an offer 1 month after that conversation. Lisa's technical skills got her qualified. Her relationship got her hired. Behind every achievement that looks like individual success lies an invisible network of supporters, mentors, collaborators, and advocates. Research from the Interview Guys, published in September 2024, shows that 82% of professionals over age 45 who successfully changed careers approached transitions strategically and leveraged existing networks. The myth of the self-made success story obscures this truth. Your ability to build and leverage relationships determines how fast and how far you will go. Building your success network, the science of social capital. Social capital, the resources embedded in relationships, functions like financial capital. You can invest it, grow it, and leverage it for returns. Unlike money, it appreciates through use rather than hoarding. The strength of weak ties. In 1973, sociologist Mark Granovetter published The Strength of Weak Ties, one of the most influential papers in social science. His counterintuitive finding, your acquaintances' weak ties are more valuable for career advancement than your close friends' strong ties. Why? Close friends know the same people you know, hear about the same opportunities, and provide redundant information. Acquaintances connect you to entirely different networks, exposing you to novel information and opportunities your inner circle cannot access. Granovetter's research showed that most people find jobs through weak ties. Someone they see occasionally, someone they met at a conference, someone they worked with years ago. These connections serve as bridges to worlds you do not inhabit. This does not diminish the importance of close relationships. Strong ties provide emotional support, deep collaboration, and genuine friendship. But for goal achievement, particularly career advancement and opportunity discovery, weak ties offer disproportionate value. Strategic via transactional networking. Traditional networking advice feels slimy. Collect business cards, attend mixers, ask, "What do you do?" while scanning the room for someone more important. This transactional approach, "What can you do for me?" creates shallow connections that evaporate quickly. Strategic networking flips the model. How can I provide value first? This is not altruism, it is enlightened self-interest. When you genuinely help others, they remember. When opportunities arise, your name surfaces. Adam Grant's research, detailed in his 2013 book, Give and Take, distinguishes between givers, takers, and matchers. Givers provide value without immediate expectation of return. Takers extract value. Matchers keep careful score, giving only when they have received. Surprisingly, givers populate both the bottom and top of success metrics. The bottom consists of indiscriminate givers who exhaust themselves helping everyone. The top consists of strategic givers who help genuinely, but protect their time and focus on relationships with reciprocity potential. The key: give generously but not indiscriminately. Help people who might help others, not necessarily you. Focus on relationships where mutual value exists, even if that value is not immediately obvious. Finding mentors and creating advisory circles. Career expert Octavia Gorodima, CEO of Fire Memos and host of How to Change Careers, emphasizes that professional networking remains one of the most effective tools for navigating transitions. She notes that her successful career pivot in public relations occurred because she told a former coworker what she was interested in exploring next. The lesson I learned is do not shy away from starting career-focused conversations. Formal mentorship programs often disappoint, artificially pairing people who may lack natural rapport. Informal mentorship, emerging organically from genuine connection, produces better results. How to attract informal mentors. Provide value first. Before asking for advice, do something useful for them. Share an article relevant to their work. Introduce them to someone valuable in your network. Comment thoughtfully on their content. Ask specific questions. "Can I pick your brain?" is vague and burdensome. "I am deciding between two approaches for X situation. Could I get your perspective on the trade-offs?" is concrete and answerable. Respect their time. Request 15 minutes, not an hour. Come prepared with specific questions. Send a brief agenda beforehand. Report back. After implementing their advice, tell them what happened. People appreciate knowing their guidance made a difference. Create a personal board of advisors. Rather than seeking one mentor for everything, build a collection of people with different expertise. Someone for career strategy, someone for technical skills, someone for industry insights, someone for work-life balance perspective. Accountability partnerships that actually work. Research on accountability, including studies by behavioral economist Dan Ariely, shows that public commitments significantly increase goal achievement. Telling someone your goal makes you more likely to achieve it, but not all accountability relationships work. Many devolve into performative check-ins. "How did it go this week?" "Great, see you next week." No real accountability. No meaningful support. Effective accountability partnerships include specific, measurable commitments. "I will work on my business" is unaccountable. "I will send 5 emails to potential clients by Thursday at 5 p.m. is accountable. Genuine consequences. Accountability without consequences is just conversation. The consequence need not be severe: donating $20 to a charity you dislike, doing 50 burpees, writing an embarrassing social media post. It just needs to be real. Regular timing. Weekly check-ins work better than monthly. The shorter interval maintains momentum and prevents drift. Mutual vulnerability. Both partners should be working toward goals. Both should face accountability. One way accountability becomes coaching or mentoring, valuable but different. Celebration of progress. Accountability is not just about calling out failures. Celebrating wins, even small ones, reinforces momentum and maintains motivation. Negotiation and persuasion fundamentals. Most of what you want requires other people's cooperation. Your salary depends on someone agreeing to pay it. Your promotion requires someone choosing you. Your projects need stakeholder buy-in. Your business needs customer decisions. Ethical influence, helping others willingly say yes to mutually beneficial requests, is therefore not a peripheral skill. It is central to achievement. Principled negotiation, interests versus positions. Roger Fisher and William Urey's 1981 book Getting to Yes revolutionized negotiation theory by distinguishing between positions, what people say they want, and interests, why they want it. Example, two people argue over an office window. One wants it open, one wants it closed. These are positions seemingly incompatible. The interest beneath? One person is hot and wants air circulation. The other is distracted by street noise and wants quiet. Once interests surface, creative solutions emerge. Open a different window, adjust the thermostat, provide noise-canceling headphones. Positional bargaining creates win-lose dynamics. Interest-based negotiation creates win-win possibilities. The principled negotiation framework. Separate people from problems. Attack the problem, not the person. You are being unreasonable triggers defensiveness. We are both trying to solve this scheduling conflict creates collaboration. Focus on interests, not positions. Ask why do you want X multiple times to uncover underlying interests. Generate options before deciding. Brainstorm multiple solutions before evaluating any. Premature evaluation kills creativity. Insist on objective criteria. Base decisions on fair standards, market rates, past precedent, industry norms rather than stubborn wills. Develop your BATNA, best alternative to a negotiated agreement. Your BATNA is your power. If you will accept any offer because you have no alternatives, you have no leverage. Strengthen your BATNA before important negotiations. Cialdini's Principles of Influence. Robert Cialdini's research, spanning over 3 decades and synthesized in his 1984 book Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion, identified 6 core principles, later expanded to 7, that drive human decision-making. His research was based on 3 undercover years applying for and training at used car dealerships, fundraising organizations, and telemarketing firms to observe real-life situations of persuasion. Reciprocity. People feel obligated to return favors. Studies in restaurants show that giving diners a single mint at the end of their meal typically increase tips by around 3%. If 2 mints are provided, tips do not double, they quadruple, a 14% increase. Most interestingly, if the waiter provides 1 mint, starts to walk away but pauses, turns back and says, "For you nice people, here is an extra mint," tips go through the roof. A 23% increase, influenced not by what was given, but how it was given. For application, provide unexpected value first before asking for anything. Make it personal and genuine. Commitment and consistency. Once people make a choice or take a stand, they feel pressure to behave consistently with that commitment. One study reduced missed appointments at health centers by 18% simply by asking patients rather than staff to write down appointment details on the future appointment card. Application. Seek small initial commitments that lead naturally to larger ones. Make commitments voluntary, active, public, and ideally written. Social proof. People look to similar others to determine correct behavior, especially in uncertain situations. When hotels changed towel reuse signs to say, 75% of people who have stayed in this room have reused their towel, it became the single most effective message, leading to a 33% increase in reuse. Applications show that many others, especially similar others, are already doing what you are requesting. Testimonials, case studies, and usage statistics all leverage social proof. Authority, people defer to credible experts. White coats make doctors more persuasive. Credentials make speakers more influential. Expertise creates compliance. Application. Establish credentials early. If you lack formal authority, borrow it. Cite research, reference industry leaders, or bring in an expert collaborator. Liking. People say yes to those they like. We like people who are similar to us, who pay us compliments, and who cooperate with us toward mutual goals. Application. Find genuine commonalities. Give sincere compliments. Frame requests as collaboration rather than commands. Scarcity. People want more of what they can have, less of. When British Airways announced in 2003 that they would no longer operate the twice-daily London-New York Concorde flight because it had become uneconomical, sales the very next day took off. Nothing had changed about the Concorde itself, it had simply become a scarce resource. Application. Highlight what is unique and potentially unavailable. Time-limited offers, exclusive access, and rare opportunities all trigger scarcity responses. Unity. Added in Cialdini's later work, unity describes the shared identity we feel with in-group members. We trust, help, and are influenced by people we consider us rather than them. Isolation. Application. Emphasize shared identities, same university, same hometown, same industry, same challenges. Language creates unity, you versus me. Language creates division. Difficult conversations framework. Not all influence involves persuasion. Sometimes you need to navigate conflict, deliver critical feedback, or push back on unreasonable requests. Douglas Stone, Bruce Patton, and Sheila Heen's book, Difficult Conversations, provides a framework. Every difficult conversation actually contains 3 conversations. The what happened conversations, who is right, who is wrong, who is to blame. This conversation rarely resolves anything. Both parties typically believe they are right. The feelings conversation, what emotions are involved? Anger, fear, hurt, disappointment? These feelings matter but often go unspoken, making resolution impossible. The identity conversation, what does this situation mean about me? Am I competent? Am I respected? Am I good at my job? These identity questions create defensiveness. Effective difficult conversations acknowledge all 3 layers. Rather than debating facts, share perspectives. Rather than suppressing emotions, name them. Rather than defending identity, recognize the identity threat underneath. The structure. Begin from the 3rd story. Rather than starting with your perspective or theirs, describe the situation as a neutral observer might. We have different views on how the project went rather than you dropped the ball. Explore each other's stories. Ask genuine questions to understand their perspective. Help me understand what happened from your view. Share your perspective. Use I statements. I felt blindsided when the deadline changed, rather than you never communicate properly. Problem solved together. Once both perspectives are understood, collaborate on solutions. What can each person do differently next time? Building coalitions and gaining cooperation. Large goals require multiple people's cooperation. New initiatives need stakeholder buy-in. Changes face resistance. Your ability to build coalitions, groups of people aligned around shared goals, determines whether your ambitions proceed or stall. Understanding stakeholder perspectives. Every stakeholder asks 3 questions. How does this affect me? Can I trust you? What is my role? Most people pitch their idea by explaining why they want it. Smart persuaders address what each stakeholder cares about. Map your stakeholders. High power, high interest. These people can make or break your initiative. They need deep engagement, regular updates, and genuine partnership. High power, low interest. These people can stop you but are not invested. Keep them informed but do not overwhelm them with details. Low power, high interest. These people care deeply but lack direct authority. They make excellent advocates and allies. Low power, low interest, minimal engagement required, but do not ignore them completely. Overcoming resistance. Resistance to change is rational, not obstinate. People resist when they do not understand why the change matters. People resist when they fear losing status, control, or competence. People resist when they distrust the person proposing change. People resist when past changes fail and they feel cynical. People resist when they prefer the certainty of the current situation to the uncertainty of the proposed one. Rather than dismissing resistance, address its roots. Build understanding. People support what they understand. Over-communicate the rationale. Share data. Tell stories. Use multiple channels. Address losses. Acknowledge what people lose through change. If automation eliminates certain tasks, acknowledge that those tasks provided identity and expertise. Then help people see what they gain. Establish trust. Trust comes from competence, you can do what you promise. Reliability, you will follow through. And care, you have their interests in mind. Build all three. Create small wins, large changes overwhelm. Small wins build confidence. Structure initiatives as progressive steps, celebrating each achievement. Involve people in designing solutions. Participation creates ownership. People support what they help create. Even if you have a clear vision, involve stakeholders in implementation details. Creating collaborative wins. The best influence creates value for everyone involved, not just you. Zero-sum thinking, I win, you lose, limits possibilities. Abundance thinking, we can both win, expands them. Before every negotiation, persuasion attempt, or coalition-building effort, ask, how can this benefit the other party? If you cannot answer convincingly, either redesign your proposal or accept that you are asking them to sacrifice for your gain, which dramatically reduces compliance likelihood. Practical application. Your relationship leverage plan. 1. Network audit. List 20 people in your professional network, strong ties and weak ties. For each, note last contact, what you know about their current work, how you might provide value. Identify 5 weak ties who connect to networks you want to access. Reach out to 3 people this week, providing value first, not asking for anything. Week 2, mentor and advisor identification. Identify 3 areas where you need guidance, technical skills, industry knowledge, leadership development, etc. For each area, list 2 potential informal mentors, people whose expertise you admire. Craft specific, valuable requests for 15-minute conversations. After conversations, send thank you notes and implement their advice. Week 3, accountability setup. Identify 1 person pursuing similar goals who might be an accountability partner. Propose a structured accountability format, weekly check-ins, specific commitments, genuine consequences. Complete first 2 accountability check-ins. Adjust format based on what works and what does not. Week 4, influence skill development. Identify 1 upcoming situation requiring persuasion or negotiation. Map stakeholder interests, not positions. Identify which Cialdini principles apply. Prepare for potential difficult conversation components. Practice the conversation with a friend or coach. Chapter summary. Achievement rarely occurs in isolation. Your network, the collection of relationships you have built and maintained, determines access to opportunities, information, and support that make goals achievable. Social capital functions through both strong ties, close relationships providing support and collaboration, and weak ties, acquaintances providing access to novel information and opportunities. Research consistently shows weak ties offer disproportionate value for career advancement and goal achievement. Strategic networking prioritizes providing value first, asking specific questions, respecting others' time, and creating reciprocal relationships. Informal mentorship, emerging organically from genuine connection, outperforms formal programs. Personal boards of advisors, multiple people offering different expertise, surpass the traditional single mentor model. Ethical influence combines principled negotiation, focusing on interests rather than positions, Cialdini's evidence-based persuasion principles, reciprocity, commitment, social proof, authority, liking, scarcity, unity, and structured frameworks for difficult conversations. Acknowledging multiple layers, including facts, feelings, and identity. Coalition building requires understanding each stakeholder's perspective, addressing resistance at its roots, creating small wins that build confidence, and designing solutions that create value for all parties. The most effective influence is not manipulation, it is helping others see how saying yes serves their interests too. Your success depends partly on your skills and effort, but it depends equally on your ability to build genuine relationships and ethically influence others toward mutually beneficial outcomes. Chapter 4. Resilience and Optimization. Manage resources and navigate setbacks. In March 2024, tech entrepreneur Maya watched her startup's primary revenue stream collapse overnight. A major client, representing 40% of revenue, terminated their contract. Months of negotiations suddenly worthless. Team morale plummeted. Investors grew nervous. Maya spent that first night staring at spreadsheets, panic rising. By morning, she had made 3 decisions. First, reduce fixed costs immediately by renegotiating office space and moving to a hybrid model. Second, pivot the product slightly to serve an adjacent market they had been ignoring. Third, use the crisis to finally implement the automation she had been postponing, freeing up time for strategic work. 9 months later, revenue had recovered to 90% of previous levels, with lower costs, better margins, and a more diversified client base. The crisis forced optimizations she had been avoiding. Meanwhile, her competitor faced a similar situation and froze, hoping things would improve. Depleting cash reserves, losing key employees. By December, they had shut down. The difference was not talent or initial resources. It was resource management and adaptive capacity, how each person responded when reality diverged from plans. The difference between achieving goals and abandoning them is not the absence of obstacles. It's how you manage your finite resources, time, money, energy, and respond when challenges appear. Resource optimization, time, money, and energy. You cannot create more time. You have 24 hours daily like everyone else, but you can radically change what you accomplish with those hours through strategic resource optimization. Time affluence versus time poverty. Research on time perception published in journals like the Journal of Consumer Research reveals that time poverty, the feeling of having insufficient time, creates stress, reduces life satisfaction, and impairs decision-making. Paradoxically, people often feel most time poor when they are busiest with low-value activities. Time affluence, the feeling of having adequate time, correlates more with how you spend time than how much discretionary time you have. People spending time on meaningful activities feel less rushed than those filling calendars with obligatory but unsatisfying tasks. The solution is not working less. It is ruthlessly eliminating low-value activities and protecting high-value ones. Time audit exercise. For 1 week, track every activity in 30-minute blocks. Categories: deep work, cognitively demanding, high value; shallow work, administrative, low value; personal development, relationships, rest, waste. At week's end, calculate percentages. Most people discover they spend under 20% of time on deep work, their highest value activity, while spending over 40% on shallow work and waste. This revelation enables strategic reallocation, buying back your time. The highest leverage decision you can make is buy back time by outsourcing low-value activities. Calculate your effective hourly rate, annual income divided by 2,000 approximate annual working hours. If you earn $60,000 yearly, your rate is $30 per hour. Any task you could outsource for less than $30 per hour is a financial loss for you to do personally, even before considering the opportunity cost of what else you could accomplish with that time. Common high ROI outsourcing. House cleaning frees 2 to 4 hours weekly. Meal preparation or delivery saves 5 to 10 hours weekly. Administrative tasks, scheduling, email management, data entry, specialized work outside your expertise, graphic design, accounting, legal. Many people resist outsourcing, viewing it as wasting money. This misunderstands the value equation. If outsourcing cleaning costs $100 monthly, but frees 8 hours for work that generates $500, you are not wasting money, you are making $400 monthly. For tasks you cannot or will not outsource, batch them. Rather than doing laundry daily, do it once weekly. Rather than grocery shopping multiple times weekly, go once. Rather than cooking individual meals, meal prep for several days. Batching reduces task swapping overhead and frees contiguous time blocks for high-value work. Energy management and ultradian rhythms. Your energy fluctuates throughout the day following ultradian rhythms, 90 to 120-minute cycles. During each cycle, energy rises to a peak, then declines. After 90 to 120 minutes of focused work, your body needs a recovery period. Most people ignore these rhythms, pushing through energy valleys with caffeine and willpower. This depletes energy faster and reduces work quality. Smart performers align work with biological rhythms. The structure: 90 minutes of focused work, then 15 to 20 minutes of genuine rest, not checking email, actual rest, walk outside, brief nap, meditation, stretching. This pattern maintains energy throughout the day while maximizing productive hours. Research from Sun Sama's 2024 State of Modern Work and Well-Being report shows that professionals who focus on meaningful, impactful work, rather than just clocking hours, report higher job satisfaction and better mental health. Quality of work matters more than quantity. Strategic spending on goal-relevant resources. Money, like time, is finite. Strategic spending dramatically accelerates goal achievement. Before any purchase, ask, does this directly support my primary goal? If yes, it is likely worth it. If no, reconsider. Examples: goal, get promoted to senior analyst. Worth it, professional conference attendance, advanced certification, executive coaching. Not worth it, new car, expensive vacation. Goal, launch consulting business. Worth it, professional website, industry associations, business coach. Not worth it, premium office space, expensive equipment before proven demand. Gold, improve fitness. Worth it, good running shoes, gym membership you will actually use, trainer for proper form. Not worth it, expensive equipment that becomes decoration, supplements without proven efficacy. This does not mean denying all pleasure spending. It means consciously distinguishing between goal-aligned spending, accelerates achievement, and lifestyle spending, provides enjoyment, but does not advance goals. Both have value, but recognize which is which. Leveraging technology and automation effectively. Technology adoption data from 2024 shows businesses increasingly leveraging AI tools for tasks such as scheduling, project management, and data analysis, allowing teams to focus on higher value work. Automation is playing a key role in IT management, and by 2025, these technologies are expected to become even more integrated into work ecosystems. But technology is a double-edged sword. Used strategically, it amplifies productivity. Used reactively, it creates distraction and busy work. I value automation. Email filters and templates saves 1 to 2 hours weekly. Calendar scheduling tools eliminates back and forth, saves 1 hour weekly. Task management systems with recurring tasks reduces mental load. Social media scheduling, batch create content, auto post. Bill payment automation eliminates monthly administrative time. AI writing assistance for first drafts accelerates content creation. The key: automate recurring, low-value tasks. Do not automate high-value work that requires judgment, creativity, or relationship building. AI can draft the email, but you should personalize it. Automation can schedule the meeting, but you should prepare thoughtfully for it. Building resilience and adaptive capacity. Resources enable action. Resilience enables sustainability. Without resilience, the first major setback stops you. With it, setbacks become data points in an ongoing experiment. The science of resilience. Resilience research, pioneered by psychologist Anne Maston and published extensively in journals like Development and Psychopathology, identifies protective factors, characteristics, and circumstances that enable people to bounce back from adversity. Protective factors include strong relationships, social support buffers stress and provides practical help. Sense of purpose, connecting setbacks to larger meaning reduces their impact. Self-efficacy, believing you can influence outcomes. Flexible thinking, ability to reframe situations and generate alternative solutions. Self-regulation, managing emotions rather than being controlled by them. Realistic optimism means acknowledging difficulties while believing in eventual success. These are not innate personality traits. They are skills developed through practice. Consider Maya's startup crisis. Her protective factors included a strong relationship with her co-founder for social support, a clear purpose beyond just making money for meaning, past experience solving problems for self-efficacy, the ability to view crisis as opportunity for flexible thinking, managing panic to make rational decisions for self-regulation, and believing the company could recover while acknowledging difficulty for realistic optimism. Reframing failure as feedback is essential. Carol Dweck's growth mindset research applies directly to resilience. Fixed mindset individuals view failure as evidence of inadequacy and say, "I failed, therefore I am a failure." Growth mindset individuals view failure as information and say, "I failed, therefore I learned what does not work." The reframe transforms everything. Thomas Edison famously reframed 1,000 failed attempts at creating the light bulb by saying, "I did not fail 1,000 times. The light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps." After setbacks, ask 3 questions. What did I learn? What would I do differently next time? What is my next action? These questions shift from rumination, which is passive dwelling on failure, to learning, which is extracting information, and to action, which is moving forward. Data from 2024 shows that successful career changers over 45 approached transitions strategically, leveraged existing networks, and focused on industries where their experience provided clear advantages, treating past failures or ended careers as accumulated expertise rather than losses. Post-traumatic growth and anti-fragility show that some people do not just recover from adversity, they emerge stronger. Psychologists Richard Tedeschi and Lawrence Calhoun coined the term post-traumatic growth to describe positive psychological change resulting from struggling with challenging circumstances. People experiencing post-traumatic growth report greater appreciation for life, warmer and more intimate relationships, increased personal strength, recognition of new possibilities, and deeper spiritual or existential understanding. This does not mean adversity is good. It means some people extract unexpected benefits from inevitable difficulties. Nassim Taleb's concept of anti-fragility, introduced in his 2012 book Anti-Fragile: Things That Gain from Disorder, describes systems that improve from stress rather than merely withstanding it. Bones strengthen under load. Immune systems improve from exposure. Businesses adapt through competitive pressure. To build anti-fragility, start with stress inoculation through controlled challenges. Voluntarily expose yourself to manageable stressors. Practice public speaking before high-stakes presentations. Try financial fasting by spending minimal money for a week before launching a business. Take cold showers before difficult situations. Small controlled stresses prepare you for large uncontrolled ones. Maintain optionality by keeping multiple options open rather than committing irrevocably to single paths. Maya's company maintained multiple smaller clients rather than depending on one large contract, though they learned this lesson painfully. Optionality creates anti-fragility, because when one option fails, others remain. Build redundancy because critical systems need backups. Single points of failure create fragility. Financial emergency funds, multiple skill sets, and diverse income streams are examples of redundancy. These redundancies cost resources but provide insurance against catastrophic failures. Learn from near misses. Most catastrophic failures are preceded by near misses that went unheeded. The employee who almost got fired but did not often fails to change behavior until actual termination. The startup that almost ran out of money but received last-minute funding often fails to fix underlying problems until bankruptcy. Treat near misses as warnings, not lucky escapes. Strategic adaptation is about knowing when to pivot versus persist. Resilience without discernment becomes obstinacy. Sometimes achievement requires persistence through difficulty. Sometimes it requires strategic abandonment. The challenge is knowing which. Psychologists Karsten Rosch and Michael Shire study goal disengagement, the ability to let go of unattainable goals, and goal re-engagement, the ability to commit to new ones. Their research, published in journals including Personality and Social Psychology Review, reveals that people who can disengage from blocked goals and re-engage with new ones experience better psychological and physical health. Conversely, people who persist indefinitely with unattainable goals experience depression, anxiety, and worse health outcomes. The saying, "never give up," while inspiring, can be psychologically damaging when applied indiscriminately. The challenge is distinguishing between temporary obstacles that require persistence and fundamental barriers that require a pivot. Not all setbacks mean you are on the wrong path, but systematic patterns of failure suggest something needs changing. Ask yourself key questions to distinguish signal from noise. Is this obstacle temporary or permanent? Losing one client is a temporary obstacle. An entire industry declining is a permanent barrier. Am I making progress, even if slowly? Slow progress suggests the correct direction, with execution challenges. Zero progress suggests the wrong direction. What does unbiased feedback say? Your enthusiasm might blind you to reality. What do mentors, data, and market responses indicate? Has my situation changed since I set this goal? Goals that made sense when established often become obsolete as circumstances change, so reevaluate regularly. What is the opportunity cost? Time spent pursuing this goal cannot be spent elsewhere. Are better opportunities being neglected? Seth Godin's 2007 book, The Dip, distinguishes between the dip, a temporary period of difficulty before breakthrough, and the cul-de-sac, situations where more effort produces no meaningful progress. The dip requires persistence. You are making progress, just slower than hoped. The hard part is temporary, and breakthrough awaits those who persist. The cul-de-sac requires quitting. You are not making progress. The hard part is permanent. Persistence only delays inevitable failure while consuming resources. To tell them apart, test rigorously. Do not quit based on feelings. Run experiments. If you have been job searching for 6 months with 0 interviews despite 100 applications, that data suggests your approach needs changing. If you have had 10 interviews but no offers, you are in the dip, close but not quite there yet. Set decision points in advance. Before starting, determine what metrics would indicate success, what would indicate you are in a dip, and what would indicate you are in a cul-de-sac. Check these metrics at predetermined intervals. Consult external perspectives. Your ego has skin in the game, but others' perspectives are more objective. What do trusted advisors say? Calculate sunk costs rationally. Past investments are gone regardless of future decisions. The question is not, have I invested too much to quit now, but rather, given what I know now, would I choose this path if starting fresh? If the answer is no, then quit. Practical application begins with your resilience and resource audit. In week 1, complete 1-week time tracking in 30-minute blocks. Calculate percentage in each category, including deep work, shallow work, waste, and rest. Identify 3 low-value activities to eliminate or outsource. Calculate your effective hourly rate and make 1 outsourcing decision this week. In week 2, focus on energy optimization. Track your energy levels hourly for 5 days on a 1 to 10 scale. Identify your peak energy periods. Reschedule your most important work for peak energy times. Implement 90-minute work blocks with 15-minute breaks, and notice the difference in productivity and exhaustion levels. In week 3, focus on resilience building. Identify your 3 strongest protective factors from the resilience list. Identify your weakest protective factor. Design one small intervention to strengthen that factor. Practice reframing one recent setback by asking, what did I learn? What would I do differently? And what is my next action? In week 4, conduct your goal review and potential pivot assessment. Review your primary goal from Chapter 1. Honestly assess whether you are in a dip or a cul-de-sac. Gather external feedback from 3 people who will be honest. If you are in a dip, ask what resources or support would help you push through. If you are in a cul-de-sac, identify what adjacent goal might better serve your underlying values. Make a documented decision to persist with the current approach, persist with a modified approach, or pivot to a new direction. Achievement requires managing 3 finite resources strategically, which are time, money, and energy. Time affluence comes not from having more hours, but from spending them on meaningful activities. Buying back time through outsourcing low-value tasks and batching unavoidable ones creates space for high-impact work. Energy management through ultradian rhythms. 90-minute work blocks, followed by genuine rest, maintains productivity without burnout. Strategic spending focuses resources on goal-aligned investments rather than diffuse lifestyle expenses. Resilience, the capacity to recover from setbacks, develops through protective factors including strong relationships, sense of purpose, self-efficacy, flexible thinking, self-regulation, and realistic optimism. These are not fixed traits, but developable skills. Reframing failure as feedback shifts from rumination to learning to action. Post-traumatic growth demonstrates that some people do not just recover from adversity, but emerge strengthened by it. Anti-fragility, systems that improve from stress, develops through stress inoculation, controlled exposure to manageable challenges, maintaining optionality, keeping multiple paths open, building redundancy, eliminating single points of failure, and learning from near misses rather than dismissing them as luck. Strategic adaptation requires distinguishing between temporary obstacles, requiring persistence, and fundamental barriers, requiring pivots. Goal disengagement research shows that letting go of unattainable goals and committing to new ones improves psychological and physical health, while indefinite persistence with blocked goals causes harm. The key distinction: dips are temporary difficulties before breakthrough. Cul-de-sacs are permanent situations where more effort produces no meaningful progress. Resource optimization and adaptive resilience work together. Manage resources to maximize progress, build resilience to sustain effort, and develop adaptive capacity to change direction when evidence warrants it. Chapter 5. Momentum and measurement. Track progress and accelerate results. David spent 3 months working on his book. Every evening after work he wrote. Some nights produced 1,000 words. Some nights 200. He felt productive but increasingly anxious. Was he making progress? Would he finish? Was the content any good? Meanwhile, his friend Jennifer started her book with a different approach. She created a simple spreadsheet tracking daily word count, cumulative total, projected completion date, and one qualitative note about what worked or did not. Every Sunday she reviewed the week: total words written, average daily output, obstacles encountered, solutions attempted. After 3 months, David had 60,000 words but no sense of progress. Jennifer had 55,000 words but clear momentum. She knew her average output, 675 words per writing session. Her consistency rate, wrote 5 out of 7 days weekly. Her projection, book complete in 7 more weeks. And her biggest obstacle, tired evenings. Morning writing produced 30% more output. David felt like he was pushing a boulder uphill. Jennifer felt like she was riding a wave. The difference was not talent, time, or even total output. It was measurement creating momentum. What gets measured gets managed, and when you measure the right things in the right way, progress transforms from linear effort into exponential momentum. Building effective measurement systems. Measurement is not about obsessive tracking. It is about creating feedback loops that inform decisions. Without measurement, you navigate by feeling, sometimes accurate, often misleading. With measurement, you navigate by data, clearer, more reliable, more actionable. Leading versus lagging indicators. Business strategists distinguish between two types of metrics. Lagging indicators measure outcomes. Revenue, weight, test scores, book sales. These are your ultimate goals, but they are retrospective. By the time you measure them, the actions that created them are long past. Lagging indicators tell you whether you succeeded, but not how to adjust going forward. Leading indicators measure inputs and behaviors that predict outcomes. Sales calls made, calories consumed, study hours completed, words written. These are controllable, immediate, and actionable. Leading indicators tell you whether your daily actions align with eventual success. They both matter, but leading indicators provide actionable feedback for course correction. Examples. Goal: lose 20 pounds. Lagging indicator. Leading indicators: daily calorie intake, exercise minutes, vegetable servings, sleep hours. Goal: get promoted. Lagging indicator. Leading indicators: visible projects completed, leadership demonstrated, skills developed, relationships built with decision makers. Goal: launch business. Lagging indicator. Leading indicators: customer conversations conducted, prototypes created, landing page visitors, email signups. The power: leading indicators are controllable today. Lagging indicators are results of past leading indicators. Control the leading indicators, and lagging indicators follow. Choosing metrics that matter, avoiding vanity metrics. Not all measurements are created equal. Vanity metrics look impressive but do not correlate with meaningful outcomes. Website traffic is a vanity metric if visitors do not convert to customers. Social media followers are vanity metrics if they do not engage with content. Hours studied are vanity metrics if comprehension and retention do not improve. Useful metrics share three characteristics. Actionable: the metric suggests specific actions to improve it. If your conversion rate is 3%, you can test different headlines, offers, or designs. If your brand awareness is low, what specifically do you do? And accessible: you can actually measure it without enormous effort. Complex metrics requiring hours of calculation discourage regular tracking. Auditable: the measurement is reliable and verifiable. Self-reported happiness is subjective and unreliable. Sleep hours tracked by device is objective and verifiable. Before tracking any metric, ask, if this number changes, will I know what to do differently? If no, it is probably a vanity metric. Tight feedback loops for rapid learning. The faster you receive feedback, the faster you improve. This principle, validated across domains from motor skill learning to business strategy, explains why video games are so engaging. Constant, immediate feedback on every action. Your achievement system needs similarly tight feedback loops. Examples of tight feedback loops: daily check-ins with accountability partner, immediate feedback on whether you completed commitments. Weekly metrics review, fast enough to catch problems early, adjust quickly. Monthly goal review, strategic reflection on larger patterns. Quarterly deep dive, comprehensive assessment and major course corrections. Contrast this with annual performance reviews, common in corporate settings. By the time feedback arrives, the behaviors that triggered it are months old, making course correction nearly impossible. The tighter your feedback loop, the faster you learn and adapt. Personal experimentation and N-of-1 studies. Your body, psychology, and circumstances are unique. General advice provides starting points, but optimization requires personalization through experimentation. N-of-1 studies, single-subject experiments apply scientific method to your life. Baseline, measure current state, sleep quality, productivity, mood, whatever you are optimizing. Intervention, change one variable, morning exercise, different diet, new work schedule. Measurement, track the same metric during intervention. Analysis, compare baseline to intervention period. Did it improve? Decision, continue if improvement, discontinue if no change or decline. This example, Jennifer from our opening wondered if morning writing outperformed evening writing. She tracked words per session for 2 weeks of evening writing, baseline average 600 words, then 2 weeks of morning writing, average 800 words, 33% improvement. The data was clear. She permanently shifted to morning writing. Without measurement, she might have continued suboptimal evening writing indefinitely, wondering why progress felt slow. Run mini experiments constantly. Test different approaches. Let data guide decisions rather than assumptions. Creating and capitalizing on momentum. Measurement creates visibility into progress. But measurement alone does not create motivation. For that, you need momentum, the psychological experience of moving forward that breeds confidence and energy. The progress principle and small wins. Teresa Amabale's research, published in Harvard Business Review, and her book, The Progress Principle, analyzed 12,000 diary entries from hundreds of workers across multiple companies. Her finding, the single strongest motivator for sustaining achievement is making progress in meaningful work. Not bonuses, not recognition, not even passion for the work itself. Analysis of Trust Index survey data covering 1.3 million employees at Great Place to Work certified firms in 2024 revealed that cooperation stands out as the cornerstone of discretionary effort. A defining trait of outstanding productivity, employees who feel they can count on others to cooperate are 8.2 times more likely to give extra effort. Small wins matter disproportionately. A small win is a concrete, complete, visible outcome that signals progress. Completing one chapter, finishing one prototype, securing one client meeting, landing one interview. Each small win proves the goal is achievable, builds confidence in your capability, creates positive emotion that reinforces behavior, and provides concrete evidence when doubt surfaces. Design your roadmap chapter 2 to produce frequent small wins. Break large goals into small enough chunks that you experience victories weekly, ideally daily. Jennifer's writing spreadsheet provided daily small wins. She could see her word count grow. David's lack of measurement meant months without tangible progress signals, draining motivation, compound effects, and exponential growth. James Clear's Atomic Habits popularizes a powerful mathematical truth: 1% daily improvement compounds dramatically over time. If you improve 1% daily for a year, you end up 37 times better than where you started. The inverse is equally true. 1% daily decline leaves you with nearly nothing. This explains why consistency matters more than intensity. 3 writing sessions weekly for a year, 156 sessions, produces more output than daily writing for 2 months, 60 sessions, followed by burnout and quitting. The challenge: compound growth is invisible early. Improvement feels imperceptible. This creates the plateau of latent potential. The plateau of latent potential. Imagine ice sitting in a room at 20 degrees Fahrenheit. You add heat. The temperature rises to 21, 22, 23 degrees, but nothing happens. The ice remains ice. More heat, 28, 29, 30 degrees. Still ice. And 31 degrees. Still ice. 32 degrees. The ice melts. Did the change from 31 to 32 degrees cause the melting? Of course not. All the prior heating was necessary but invisible. The phase change occurred at 32 degrees, but only because of accumulated heat below that threshold. Achievement works identically. You apply effort, writing, networking, learning, with no visible results. Weeks pass, nothing. More effort, still nothing. Then suddenly, breakthrough. You get the interview. The client says yes. The piece goes viral. The promotion comes through. The breakthrough wasn't caused by the final effort. It resulted from accumulated effort crossing an invisible threshold. Most people quit in the plateau before the phase change. They mistake lack of visible results for lack of progress. Measurement solves this. It shows progress even when outcomes haven't changed yet. Jennifer's metrics showed steady word count growth even before she had a completed manuscript. This sustained her through the plateau. David, lacking metrics, questioned whether he was making progress at all, the doubt that causes abandonment. Success spirals and positive reinforcement. Psychologist Albert Bandura's research on self-efficacy revealed that mastery experiences, successfully completing challenges, are the most powerful builders of confidence. Each success increases belief and capability, which increases likelihood of attempting harder challenges, which produces more successes, a virtuous cycle. Success spirals work through positive reinforcement. Behavior leads to positive outcome, increased behavior, more positive outcomes. Design your achievement system to create success spirals. Start with high probability wins. Choose initial goals you're likely to achieve. Build confidence before tackling harder challenges. Celebrate completed actions, not just outcomes. You control actions, leading indicators, not always outcomes, lagging indicators. Celebrate making the sales call, even if the prospect said no. Celebrate sending the application, even if you don't get the interview. Share wins with your accountability partner or network. Verbalizing success reinforces it psychologically and builds social proof. Document wins visually. Keep a win jar with notes about each achievement. Create a visual progress tracker, filling in a chart or moving markers toward a goal. Physical representations of progress trigger more motivation than abstract knowledge. Avoid success spiral destroyers, perfectionism, moving goalposts, and negative filtering. Perfectionism means nothing is ever good enough. Moving goalposts means achieving the goal then immediately dismissing it as not that hard. Negative filtering means focusing only on what went wrong while ignoring what went right. Data-driven course correction. Measurement and momentum focus on what's working, but equally important is identifying what's not working and adjusting quickly. Structured review processes. Most people either never review progress, operating on autopilot until failure, or review randomly when anxiety spikes. Neither works well. Structured reviews, scheduled in advance following consistent format, provide actionable insights. Weekly review, 15 to 30 minutes. What were my goals for this week? What did I achieve? What didn't I achieve? What obstacles arose? What worked well? What will I do differently next week? What are my specific goals for next week? Monthly review, 60 to 90 minutes. Review progress on leading indicators. Are my daily or weekly actions consistent? Review progress on lagging indicators. Are outcomes moving in the right direction? Identify patterns. What consistently works, what consistently fails? Test one significant hypothesis based on patterns. What one change might accelerate progress? Adjust goals if circumstances changed. Celebrate wins and progress. Quarterly review, 2 to 4 hours. Big picture assessment. Am I on track to achieve my annual goal? If not on track, is this a dip requiring persistence or a cul-de-sac requiring pivot? What are my biggest obstacles? What resources or support would help? What skills do I need to develop? Budding relationships need strengthening. Does this goal still align with my values? Circumstances and values change. Goals should adapt. Set or adjust next quarter's objectives. Calendar these reviews. Treat them as seriously as any other commitment. Missing reviews is like flying without instruments. You lose the feedback needed for navigation. When and how to pivot based on data. Measurement makes that decision data-driven rather than emotional. Red flags suggesting pivot is needed. Leading indicators consistently terrible. You're taking action, tracking it, but the numbers aren't improving. You've applied to 50 jobs with 0 interviews. You've published 20 blog posts with no audience growth. You've made 100 sales calls with 0 conversions. Lagging indicators declining despite good leading indicators. You're doing everything right, but outcomes worsen. This suggests the strategy itself is flawed, not your execution. Cost exceeds benefit. The resources, time, money, energy, opportunity cost required to continue exceed the value of potential success. External circumstances changed. The industry shifted. Regulations changed. Technology disrupted the space. Your personal situation changed. The goal made sense when set but no longer does. Lost alignment with values. Through self-reflection, you realize this goal never truly mattered to you. It was externally imposed. When data suggests pivot, first, verify the data. Are you measuring correctly? Is the sample size sufficient? Have you given it enough time? 1 month of poor results might be noise. 6 months is signal. Second, test alternatives before completely abandoning. Can you modify approach rather than changing goals entirely? Different target market, different messaging, different method. Third, document lessons learned. What worked? What didn't? Why? These lessons inform future endeavors. Finally, commit to the pivot. Half-hearted pivots fail. If you're changing direction based on data, change fully. Trying to pursue both old and new goals simultaneously dilutes effort. Balancing persistence with adaptation. The art of achievement lies in the balance. Persist long enough to cross the plateau of latent potential, but adapt quickly enough to avoid wasting resources on cul-de-sacs. Measurement provides the answer. Without data, you guess. With data, you know. Jennifer's writing metrics showed consistent progress, 675 average words per session, steady output 5 days weekly. This justified persistence despite lack of completed manuscript. If her metrics showed declining output, increasing missed days, and growing frustration, that would signal need for change. Different writing time, different project, or reconsidering the goal entirely. David had feelings, sometimes optimistic, sometimes despairing, but no data. Feelings make poor advisors for persistence versus pivot decisions. They fluctuate with mood, energy, and recent events. Data provides stable ground for decision-making. Practical application, your measurement and momentum system. Week 1, metrics setup. For your primary goal, identify one lagging indicator, outcome, measure. Identify 3 leading indicators, daily or weekly controllable actions. Create simple tracking system, spreadsheet, app, or paper chart. Begin tracking daily every single day, even when you do nothing. Data on rest days matters too. Set calendar reminder for first weekly review. Week 2, small wins design. Review your goal roadmap. Ensure each week contains at least one small win, concrete, completable outcome. If current chunks too large, break them smaller. Create visual progress indicator, chart, jar, or checklist, something physical. Document and celebrate 3 small wins this week. Week 3, review, process, implementation. Complete your first structured weekly review. Based on 1 week of data, identify one pattern, positive or concerning. Make one small adjustment based on that pattern. Schedule monthly review, 60 to 90 minutes, end of next month. Schedule quarterly review, 2 to 4 hours, end of next quarter. Week 4, momentum building. Calculate your compound improvement rate. By what percentage are you improving weekly on your leading indicators? If not improving, what one change would likely increase your leading indicators? Implement that change immediately. Share your progress with accountability partner or support network. Document evidence that you're in the plateau of latent potential phase. Progress is happening, even if outcomes haven't changed yet. Chapter summary. Measurement transforms invisible progress into visible evidence, providing the feedback needed for informed decision-making and the motivation derived from tracking forward movement. Effective measurement systems distinguish between leading indicators, controllable daily actions, and lagging indicators, eventual outcomes. Prioritize metrics that are actionable, accessible, and auditable. And avoid vanity metrics that look impressive but don't correlate with meaningful results. Tight feedback loops, daily, weekly, and monthly reviews, accelerate learning and adaptation far more than annual or sporadic assessment. Personal experimentation through individual studies enables optimization based on your unique physiology and circumstances rather than generic advice. Momentum. The psychological experience of progress derives from small wins that prove goals are achievable, build confidence, create positive emotion, and provide concrete evidence during doubt. Compound effects mean 1% daily improvement yields 37-fold improvement annually. But the plateau of latent potential, where progress occurs without visible outcomes, causes most people to quit before breakthrough. Success spirals occur when behavior produces positive outcomes, increasing confidence and likelihood of attempting harder challenges, which produces more successes. Design achievement systems to create frequent small wins, celebrate actions rather than just outcomes, document wins visibly, and avoid success spiral destroyers like perfectionism and moving goalposts. Structured reviews, weekly, monthly, and quarterly, identify patterns, test hypotheses, and inform adjustments. The data-driven course correction distinguishes between dips, temporary difficulties requiring persistence, and cul-de-sacs, fundamental problems requiring pivots, through objective metrics rather than fluctuating emotions. The balance of achievement persists long enough to cross the plateau of latent potential, but adapt quickly enough to avoid wasting resources on unworkable approaches. Measurement makes this balance navigable rather than guesswork. Chapter 6. Sustaining Success. Make achievement last while growing. Marcus spent 5 years building his consulting business. Long hours, constant hustling, sacrificed weekends, missed family events, postponed vacations. Finally, in late 2023, he achieved his goal. Consistent 6-figure income, strong client roster, respected reputation. Then something unexpected happened. He felt empty. The goal that motivated him for years, finally achieved, left him wondering now what. Within 6 months, his satisfaction plummeted. He started questioning whether the business was worth it. The drive that carried him through challenges evaporated. Meanwhile, his colleague Elena built a similar practice with a different approach. She set financial goals but framed them as enabling deeper purposes. Financial security for her family, ability to fund her daughter's education without debt, freedom to volunteer with nonprofits she cared about. When she reached her income target, she did not feel empty. She felt liberated to pursue those deeper purposes. She maintained her practice while adding new dimensions to her life. 5 years later, Marcus had sold his business, feeling burned out and disillusioned. Elena thrived. Same business success, but integrated into a satisfying, multifaceted life. Getting what you want is hard. Keeping it while continuing to grow and find fulfillment is the real mastery. Avoiding the hedonic treadmill. Psychologists describe the hedonic treadmill, the tendency to adapt to positive changes, returning to baseline happiness levels. You get the promotion, feel elated for weeks, then adjust to the new normal. You buy your dream house, initially thrilled, then take it for granted. You achieve your goal weight, celebrate briefly, then focus on remaining imperfections. This adaptation served evolutionary purposes. Our ancestors benefited from quickly adjusting to improved circumstances rather than resting on past achievements. But in modern achievement contexts, the hedonic treadmill creates the arrival fallacy. The arrival fallacy. Harvard psychologist Tal Ben-Shahar coined arrival fallacy, the illusion that achieving a goal will bring lasting happiness. I will be happy when I get promoted. I will be satisfied when I reach this income. I will feel fulfilled when I achieve this milestone. Research consistently shows the fallacy. Achievement produces temporary happiness spikes, followed by return to baseline. Studies of employees at Great Place to Work certified firms in 2024 found that 81% of employees at top companies described their workplace as psychologically and emotionally healthy, compared to 45% at typical workplaces. A 45% higher rating. That underscores how strong leadership and intentional support create environments where productivity and well-being thrive together. The problem is not achieving goals. It is believing achievement alone creates sustained satisfaction. The solution? Reframe achievement as enablement rather than destination. Marcus saw his business as the destination, once achieved, purpose fulfilled. Elena saw her business as enabling deeper purposes. Once achieved, real work begins. Ask, what does achieving this goal enable me to do or become? That answer, not the achievement itself, provides lasting satisfaction. Finding satisfaction in present while pursuing growth. Research on happiness, including work by psychologist Sonja Lyubomirsky, reveals that sustainable life satisfaction comes from 3 sources. Set point 50% genetic predisposition, relatively fixed, though meditation and therapy can shift it moderately. Circumstances, 10%. Life conditions, income, location, marital status, health. Changes to circumstances produce temporary happiness changes, then adaptation. Intentional activities, 40%. Deliberate actions, gratitude practice, helping others, pursuing meaningful goals, savoring positive experiences. The 40% under your control matters more than most people realize. Circumstances, the things we obsess over changing, matter less. Practical applications. Gratitude practice. Research shows daily gratitude journaling, 3 things you are grateful for, increases life satisfaction and reduces depression. This is not pop psychology. It is validated across dozens of studies. The mechanism? Gratitude counteracts hedonic adaptation by directing attention to what is already good rather than only what is missing. Savoring. Deliberately pausing to appreciate positive experiences amplifies their impact. When something good happens, a small win, positive feedback, pleasant moment, stop and notice it. Tell someone about it. Write it down. Take a mental photograph. These behaviors increase and prolong positive emotion. Process goals versus outcome goals. Set goals about behaviors you control, process, rather than results you do not, outcomes. Write daily versus get published. Apply to 3 jobs weekly versus get hired. Process goals provide satisfaction through completion regardless of eventual outcomes. They also, ironically, increase likelihood of achieving outcome goals. Present moment awareness. Mindfulness research shows that present moment awareness, paying attention to current experience without judgment, increases life satisfaction and reduces anxiety. The future does not exist yet. The past is gone. Satisfaction exists only in the present. This does not mean abandoning future goals. It means enjoying the journey toward them rather than postponing satisfaction until arrival. Gratitude and savoring techniques. Beyond daily journaling, research-validated practices. The 3 good things exercise. Each evening, write 3 things that went well and why they happened. This trains attention toward positive events and builds awareness of your role in creating them. Gratitude letters. Write detailed letter to someone who impacted your life, expressing specific appreciation. Ideally deliver in person. Studies show this produces happiness, increases lasting months. Savoring walk. Take a 15-minute walk with the sole purpose of noticing beauty, pleasant sensations, positive aspects of your environment. This builds capacity to appreciate present experience. Mental subtraction. Periodically imagine your life without something you value, your health, your relationships, your opportunities. This temporarily removes hedonic adaptation, allowing renewed appreciation for what you have. Positive reminiscence. Regularly review past achievements, meaningful moments, and peak experiences. This combats the tendency to dismiss past successes as not that impressive and reinforces appreciation for your journey. Sustainable success across life domains. Single domain success. Excelling at career while relationships deteriorate, health declines, and personal growth stagnates is fragile and unsatisfying. Research on work-life balance reveals that balance is misleading. It suggests equal time across domains. But time equality is not possible or desirable. Work-life integration research. Tsutsama's 2024 State of Modern Work and Well-Being report found that 90% of professionals believe flexible schedules significantly boost work-life balance satisfaction. The workload management system that helps users plan and balance both personal commitments and work deliverables in one unified view recognizes that modern productivity is not about rigid separation, but thoughtful integration. Rather than balance, equal weight, think integration, harmonious interaction. Some weeks work dominates, some weeks family dominates. Some seasons health requires focus, some seasons career advancement takes priority. The key, no domain remains chronically neglected. If career consumes 90% of time for a year, relationships and health suffer irreparably. If 2 months, they survive and can be rebalanced. Balancing multiple goals and identities. You are not just a professional, you are also a parent, partner, friend, hobbyist, community member, individual with physical and mental health needs. Achievement in one domain cannot come at complete expense of others. Psychologist Erik Erikson's developmental theory describes generativity, concern for establishing and guiding the next generation. Research shows people experiencing generativity report higher life satisfaction than those focused solely on personal achievement. This explains why Marcos felt empty despite business success. He had neglected relationships, health, and contribution beyond financial gain. Elena integrated success with family, health, and volunteer work, creating multifaceted satisfaction. Preventing burnout while maintaining ambition. Research reveals that 76% of employees experience burnout on the job, at least sometimes, with 28% reporting burnout very often or always. A 2023 study shows that 69% of remote workers have experienced burnout symptoms from working remotely. Burnout is not caused by hard work. It is caused by chronic stress without recovery, lack of autonomy or control, insufficient reward or recognition, misalignment between values and actions, and unfair treatment. You can maintain high ambition and intense effort without burning out if you build recovery into your system. Sleep, rest days, genuine vacations, not working remotely from beach. Elite athletes understand this. Training breaks down muscle, recovery builds it back stronger. Work operates identically. Maintain autonomy, even within constraints. Identify areas where you control decisions. Research shows autonomy is one of the strongest predictors of job satisfaction and protection against burnout. Ensure effort produces results. Burnout accelerates when hard work produces no visible impact. Your measurement system, Chapter 5, solves this, providing evidence that effort matters. Align work with values. Revisit Chapter 1's values clarification regularly. Does your current work honor your core values? If not, either adjust your work or acknowledge the values' misalignment as temporary sacrifice for larger purpose. Set and enforce boundaries. Availability does not equal productivity. Constant work without protected personal time destroys both work quality and life satisfaction. Elite performers protect rest time as fiercely as work time. Identity evolution and continuous growth. Achievement creates new identities. The person who achieves their goal becomes someone different, someone who has proven they can do what they previously could not. Growth beyond achievement. Achieving your goal answers one question but raises another. Now what? 3 common responses. Stagnation. Rest on achievement, avoid new challenges, gradually decline as skills atrophy and world changes. This is Marcus's path until he sold his business. Endless striving, immediately set a bigger goal, never pausing to appreciate achievement, running on the hedonic treadmill indefinitely. This path burns bright, but often burns out. Continuous development. Appreciate achievement, integrate lessons, identify new growth edges, pursue meaningful next challenges. This is Elena's path. The third option requires what psychologist Carol Dweck calls growth mindset. Chapter 1, applied to life itself. You are never finished developing. Achievement is not the end, it is a milestone in ongoing evolution. Developmental psychologist Robert Kagan describes increasingly complex orders of consciousness, ways of understanding yourself and world. Higher orders do not replace lower ones. They incorporate them while adding capacity for greater complexity, nuance, and perspective. Most people can continue developing throughout life if they seek experiences that challenge current worldview, reflect on experiences rather than just accumulating them, accept discomfort of not knowing and learning, surround themselves with people operating at higher complexity, view identity as evolving rather than fixed, from success to significance, generativity. Research from 2024 shows that of the companies on the 2025 Fortune 100 Best Companies to Work For, 97 support remote or hybrid work, and 84% of employees at these companies say they can count on colleagues to cooperate, compared to 65% in typical workplaces. These organizations understand that success involves creating environments where others thrive, not just personal achievement. As you achieve your goals, a natural evolution occurs, from how do I succeed to how do I help others succeed. This is not altruism, it is human nature. Research on happiness shows that helping others, mentoring, teaching, and contributing to causes larger than yourself produces more sustained life satisfaction than personal achievement alone. Practical applications. Mentor others. As you develop expertise, share it. Mentoring benefits the mentee, obviously, but research shows it also benefits mentors through increased job satisfaction, sense of purpose, and network expansion. Create systems, not just results. Do not just achieve your goal, document how you did it. Create processes others can follow. Your achievement becomes repeatable rather than unique. Contribute to causes you value. Financial success enables philanthropic contribution. Time flexibility enables volunteer work. Expertise enables pro bono consulting. Achievement creates resources. Deploy some of them beyond personal gain. Teach what you learn. Write, speak, coach, or share your journey publicly. Teaching deepens your own understanding while helping others avoid mistakes you made. Build rather than just earn. Shift from extracting value to creating it. Build businesses that employ others. Create art that enriches culture. Develop tools that solve problems. Leave the world slightly better than you found it. Legacy thinking and contribution. Marcus achieved financial success but built nothing lasting beyond his bank account. When he sold his business, it effectively disappeared. The value was him, not the systems or intellectual property. Elena built differently. Documented processes, trained junior consultants, created thought leadership content, developed tools others could use. When she eventually transitions from her business, it will continue without her, a lasting contribution. Consider, if you disappeared tomorrow, what would remain? What impact would persist? What have you built that outlives your direct involvement? Legacy thinking does not require starting a foundation or building a monument. It means considering the lasting impact of your actions and deliberately creating something enduring. Questions for legacy thinking. What do you want to be remembered for? What problems do you want to help solve? Who do you want to help along the way? What would you regret not doing or creating? How can your success enable others' success? These questions shift focus from what do I want to achieve to what do I want to contribute, a shift that paradoxically increases both achievement and satisfaction. Designing systems that scale without your constant effort. The ultimate achievement. Building systems that produce value without requiring your constant input. Your business operates without you micromanaging every decision. Your content reaches people without your active promotion. Your mentorship multiplies as those you have taught go on to teach others. This is not about laziness, it is about leverage. Every hour you spend on tasks only you can do, strategic thinking, relationship building, creative work, produces more value than hours spent on tasks anyone could do, execution, administration, maintenance. The progression. 1. Do the work yourself. Learn how it works. 2. Document the work. Create replicable processes. 3. Delegate the work. Teach others to execute. 4. Design systems, build tools or processes that reduce need for human intervention. 5. Multiply impact systems run themselves, freeing you for next-level challenges. Most people remain stuck at level 1 or 2 indefinitely. Achievement accelerates dramatically at levels 3 through 5. Practical application, your sustainability plan. Week 1, satisfaction audit. Rate satisfaction, 0 to 10, across 5 domains: career, relationships, health, personal growth, contribution. For domains below 7, what one change would increase satisfaction? Implement gratitude practice 3 good things daily. Schedule 1 weekly savoring activity: walk, meal, conversation where you are fully present. Identify 1 domain chronically neglected. Schedule time for it this week. Week 2, integration assessment. Review your calendar from last month. Calculate percentage of time in each life domain. Identify, is any domain receiving less than 5% of time and attention? Design 1 integration strategy that honors multiple domains simultaneously: family, exercise, learning with colleagues, volunteer work, using professional skills. Set boundaries. Identify 1 time or space that will remain work-free. Week 3, growth edge. Identification. Reflect on current identity. Who have I become through recent achievements? Identify 1 new challenge that would stretch you, not more of the same, but different. Ask, what does my success enable me to do or become next? Explore generativity. How can I help someone else achieve what I have achieved? Document 1 lesson learned from your journey that would benefit others. Week 4, legacy and systems design. Answer the legacy questions from this chapter. Identify 1 aspect of your success you could systematize, document, delegate, or automate. Begin documenting 1 process or approach that currently exists only in your head. Connect with 1 person you could mentor or help. Design 1 contribution that extends beyond personal benefit. Chapter summary. Sustaining achievement requires navigating the hedonic treadmill, the tendency to adapt to positive changes and return to baseline happiness. The arrival fallacy, believing achievement will bring lasting happiness, leads to post-achievement emptiness when the goal proves insufficient. Reframe achievement as enablement rather than destination. What does success allow you to do or become? Lasting satisfaction derives more from intentional activities, 40% of happiness, than circumstances, 10%, with 50% determined by genetic set point. Gratitude practices, savoring positive experiences, setting process goals rather than only outcome goals, and present moment awareness sustain satisfaction while pursuing future goals. Sustainable success requires integration across multiple life domains rather than single domain excellence at the expense of relationships, health, and personal growth. Work-life integration acknowledges that different seasons emphasize different domains, but no domain remains chronically neglected. Burnout results not from hard work, but from chronic stress without recovery, lack of autonomy, insufficient reward, values misalignment, and unfair treatment. Identity evolution means viewing achievement as a milestone in ongoing development rather than a final destination. Growth beyond achievement requires challenging current worldview, reflecting on experiences, accepting discomfort of learning, surrounding yourself with complex thinkers, and viewing identity as evolving rather than fixed. Generativity, concern for establishing and guiding the next generation, produces higher life satisfaction than pure personal achievement. Practical applications include mentoring others, creating replicable systems, contributing to valued causes, teaching what you learn, and building rather than just earning. Legacy thinking shifts focus from "what do I want to achieve" to "what do I want to contribute." The ultimate achievement, designing systems that produce value without constant input, progressing from doing work yourself to documenting, delegating, systematizing, and ultimately multiplying impact as systems run independently while you tackle next-level challenges. Conclusion: your systematic path forward. You now possess what most people never acquire: a comprehensive, evidence-based system for turning desires into reality. Not motivational slogans, not vague inspiration. A systematic approach grounded in decades of research across psychology, sociology, neuroscience, behavioral economics, and organizational science, tested in real-world contexts, from Olympic training to business strategy to personal transformation. Let's synthesize what you've learned into an integrated framework you can implement immediately. The 6-element achievement system. Achievement isn't random. It follows predictable patterns. Master these 6 elements and you master the process. Element 1: clarity and vision. Everything begins with knowing precisely what you want. Not what others expect, not what social comparison suggests, but what authentically matters to you. This requires distinguishing intrinsic from extrinsic motivation, clarifying values through structured reflection, and transforming vague aspirations into specific, measurable objectives using frameworks like SMART goals or OKRs. Visualization amplifies achievement by activating neural pathways as if you're already performing desired behaviors. But effective visualization includes sensory detail, process rehearsal, mental contrasting of obstacles, and consistent practice, not just outcome fantasies. Finally, sustainable achievement requires believing the goal is attainable for you specifically. Develop this belief through growth mindset cultivation, building self-efficacy from mastery experiences, and challenging limiting beliefs with cognitive restructuring. Element 2: strategic systems. Goals initiate action. Systems sustain it. Without robust systems, every day requires maximum willpower, a recipe for eventual failure. Effective roadmaps break overwhelming goals into manageable chunks, use mental contrasting to prepare for obstacles, schedule work based on energy levels rather than arbitrary hours, and build flexibility through regular reviews. Habit formation succeeds through starting absurdly small, designing environments that make desired behaviors easy and automatic, and stacking new habits onto existing routines. Identity-based habits, framing behaviors as reflections of who you are, increase adherence dramatically. Focus, increasingly rare in a distracted world, becomes achievable through deep work protocols, aggressive distraction management, and flow state optimization with clear goals, immediate feedback, and appropriate challenge levels. Element 3: people and influence. Achievement rarely occurs in isolation. Your network determines access to opportunities, information, and support. Social capital functions through both strong ties, close relationships providing support, and weak ties, acquaintances providing access to novel information. Research shows weak ties offer disproportionate value for career advancement. Strategic networking prioritizes providing value first, asking specific questions, and creating reciprocal relationships. Ethical influence combines principled negotiation, focusing on interests rather than positions, Cialdini's persuasion principles of reciprocity, commitment, social proof, authority, liking, scarcity, and unity, and structured frameworks for difficult conversations. Coalition building requires understanding each stakeholder's perspective, addressing resistance at its roots, creating small wins that build confidence, and designing solutions that create value for all parties. Element 4: resilience and optimization. Achievement requires managing 3 finite resources strategically: time, money, and energy. Time affluence comes from spending hours on meaningful activities. Buying back time through outsourcing and batching creates space for high-impact work. Energy management through ultradian rhythms maintains productivity without burnout. Resilience develops through protective factors including strong relationships, sense of purpose, self-efficacy, flexible thinking, self-regulation, and realistic optimism. Reframing failure as feedback shifts from rumination to learning to action. Antifragility, systems that improve from stress, develops through stress inoculation, maintaining optionality, building redundancy, and learning from near misses. Strategic adaptation requires distinguishing between temporary obstacles requiring persistence and fundamental barriers requiring pivots. Measurement provides objective data for this distinction rather than relying on fluctuating emotions. Element 5. Momentum and measurement. Measurement transforms invisible progress into visible evidence. Effective measurement systems distinguish between leading indicators, controllable actions, and lagging indicators, eventual outcomes, prioritize actionable and auditable metrics, and avoid vanity metrics that don't correlate with meaningful results. Momentum derives from small wins that prove goals achievable, build confidence, and provide concrete evidence during doubt. Compound effects mean small daily improvements yield dramatic results over time. But the plateau of latent potential, where progress occurs without visible outcomes, causes most people to quit before breakthrough. I believe that if we could all accomplish more than just a few or fast. Structured reviews, weekly, monthly, and quarterly identify patterns, test hypotheses, and inform adjustments. Data-driven course correction distinguishes between dips and cul-de-sacs through objective metrics. Element 6. Sustainable success. Sustaining achievement requires navigating the hedonic treadmill and arrival fallacy by reframing achievement as enablement rather than destination. Lasting satisfaction derives from intentional activities such as gratitude practices, savoring experiences, process goals, and present moment awareness more than circumstances. Sustainable success requires integration across multiple life domains, preventing burnout through recovery, autonomy, ensuring effort produces results, values alignment, and boundaries. Identity evolution means viewing achievement as a milestone in ongoing development. Generativity, helping others succeed, produces higher satisfaction than pure personal achievement. Addressing the action-acknowledge gap. You now know what to do. The remaining question, will you do it? Research on the intention-behavior gap shows that most people never implement what they learn. They read books, attend workshops, consume content, then continue existing patterns. The gap results from 3 factors: lack of specificity. Vague intentions fail. Specific plans succeed. Implementation intentions, precise plans for when, where, and how you'll act, bridge this gap. Absence of accountability. Private goals remain optional. Public commitments or accountability partnerships create social pressure that increases follow-through. Tell people your plan. Report progress regularly. Insufficient environmental support. If your environment doesn't support new behaviors, willpower battles environment, and environment usually wins. Redesign physical and social environments to make desired behaviors easier than undesired ones. Your implementation strategy must address all 3. Be specific. Use the 30, 60, 90-day roadmap. Don't modify it to be more flexible. Specificity creates success. Flexibility creates drift. Create accountability. Share your plan with your accountability partner. Set calendar reminders for reviews. Make public commitments you'd be embarrassed to abandon. Engineer your environment. This week, not eventually, this week, make one environment change supporting your goal. Delete distracting apps. Set out workout clothes. Put reminders where you'll see them. Physical changes precede behavioral changes. Why you're more capable than you think. Here's the truth most people don't realize. Achieving your goals doesn't require exceptional talent, unlimited time, or perfect circumstances. Research from 2024 shows that 82% of professionals over age 45 who attempted career changes succeeded, not because they were younger, smarter, or luckier, but because they approached transitions strategically and leveraged existing networks. Studies show people who began with minimal viable habits and gradually scaled up were 2.7 times more likely to maintain long-term habits than those who started with ambitious targets. Research covering 1.3 million employees found that cooperation stands out as the cornerstone of discretionary effort. Employees who feel they can count on others to cooperate are 8.2 times more likely to give extra effort. The pattern is clear. Success comes not from extraordinary capability, but from systematic application of proven principles. You already have what you need. You need clarity, you need systems, you need relationships, you need resilience, you need measurement, and you need sustainability. The question isn't whether you can succeed. The question is whether you'll apply what you now know. Your next steps. Close this book. Open your calendar. Block 30 minutes right now, not later today, not tomorrow, right now. During those 30 minutes, write your primary goal using OKR format, 1 objective, 3 key results. Identify your first tiny habit. Schedule your first weekly review. Text 1 person to be your accountability partner. Make 1 environment change supporting your goal. That's it. The 30 minutes. 5 actions. Those 5 actions will accomplish more than reading a dozen more books on achievement. Knowledge without implementation is entertainment. Implementation without knowledge is inefficient. Knowledge plus implementation is transformation. You now have both knowledge and implementation roadmap. The difference between wishing and achieving. Thousands of people will read this book. Most will nod along, appreciate the research, enjoy the stories, and continue existing patterns. Their lives in 6 months will look identical to today. A small percentage will actually implement. They'll work through the exercises. They'll track their metrics. They'll build their habits. They'll review and adjust. They'll persist through the plateau of latent potential. Their lives in 6 months will be dramatically different. The only difference between these groups isn't intelligence, resources, or luck. It's action. Wishing is reading this book and thinking, it's interesting. Achieving is closing this book and blocking those 30 minutes. Which will you choose? A final truth. Getting what you want isn't a mystery requiring special insight. It's not a gift granted to the lucky few. It's not dependent on perfect circumstances or exceptional talent. It's a systematic process that anyone can learn and apply. You've learned the system. The frameworks are clear. The research is solid. The roadmap is detailed. What happens next depends entirely on you. Will you apply this systematically, or will you return to hoping things somehow change? Will you track your progress, or will you rely on fluctuating feelings? Will you build the systems, or will you depend on willpower? Will you leverage relationships, or will you go it alone? Will you persist through the plateau, or will you quit before breakthrough? Will you integrate success sustainably, or will you burn out achieving hollow victories? The choice is yours. The system is proven. The path is clear. Now go get what you want.